Do you want to hear my theory on NFL officiating? Of course you do. That's why you're here. It is so simple. It makes so much sense. It's undeniable. And if you think that talking about the problems with NFL officiating is excuse making or being a crybaby, you've not been paying attention. All right, let's go.
Second and goal. As Allen has someone on him right away, and he's still...
Great job by Reddick exploding, getting there, but right there, does he grab the back right there?
Oh, yeah. How do you not see that? Gene Steratore, that is pretty blatant, I think.
It is, Jim. Now, by rule, if the quarterback is in the pocket, you're permitted to, but we can clearly see that Josh Allen was flushed out of the pocket.
Throw some of these plays up here while I discuss what's going on. So here's my theory on NFL officiating, all right? Because everybody wants to talk about you're either on one side of the fence or the other. You can't talk about officiating at all, because if you do, then you're a complainer, you're a whiner, you're an excuse maker. The other side of the fence is everything's the ref's fault. Everything that happens in the game, it all falls on the refs. The team can't lose unless the refs force them to lose, which isn't the case either. So here's how it really is with a level mind. This is my theory on NFL officiating. You've got your 3 units on the field: offense, defense, and special teams, right? We talk about them. If a kicker misses a game-winning field goal or multiple field goals in a game, whatever it might be, talk about special teams. If the defense sucks, can't stop a quarterback, lets up 35 points, we talk about the defense. If the offense scores 7 points, turns the ball over 3 times, I'm talking about the quarterback, talking about the offense. There's a 4th unit on the field, and they have just as much ability as anybody else to impact the game. That is the officiating. They're a wild card, right? They can help you, they can ruin the game for you, or they can just be neutral and call a fair game, which is the way it should be, but it's not the way that it is. So the other 3 units have to outperform that 4th unit, which is the officiating. And if they help you, well, that's just a bonus, as we've seen kind of the case for Philadelphia for most of the year. And I'm showing you some plays here for Philadelphia that have gone their way. You've got some in the Dallas game, some in the Buffalo game. They had a game against the Dolphins where they had 0 penalties called on them. I mean, that's not even really remotely possible, because they say holding occurs every play, et cetera, et cetera. I mean, how do you get through an NFL game with 0 penalties? I just don't know how that's even possible, but it happens. So, you can say the Eagles have been getting a little lucky this year in terms of officiating and calls going their way. But, I mean, my theory on the officiating is that exactly what I said, and it's okay to discuss officiating. That's kind of the whole point of this thing, is we can't shy away from talking about NFL officiating, because all they're going to keep doing is pushing new and more complex rules. They're not integrating technology to help the officials. The refs aren't even full-time, for God's sakes. So, and we're supposed to just ignore it like it's not a problem. It's a big problem in the NFL. It's supposed to balance out in these games. They say it all kind of evens out, and what kind of goes around comes around. And, in the Dallas game, Dallas got 2 calls late. DPI down the field and then a roughing the passer. Both were legitimate calls, though. It's not like the refs messed up and just called them out of the blue. I mean, if they missed those penalties, it would have been upsetting for sure. So, I mean, those weren't like the refs helped them. And then the same thing in the Bills game. I mean, you look at the Josh Allen horse collar. By the way, if you're saying that's not a horse collar, you need to go see an optometrist. You need to read the rule book. I mean, he grabs him by the nameplate and he gets yanked down. I mean, it doesn't matter what happened. It gets kind of turned sideways and yanked down. So, I mean, the horse collar by the letter of the law. So, anyways, they do that. And then on top of that, they miss the call and they throw intentional grounding, even though I believe it was Gabe Davis was in the vicinity. He was a few yards away from the throw. What happens is now they're pushed back. The Bills are pushed back. So instead of being on the 1.5 yard line roughly where they were supposed to be if they called the horse collar, called it correctly, they're now forced back. They kick a field goal. Field goal was blocked. So not only did they take 7 points off the board, so you can't really sit here and tell me that officiating has nothing to do with the game. It's clearly an important part of the process. And yeah, I mean, you're crazy if you don't think they at least help to determine the outcomes of the games. I just want to see it called evenly. I don't want to see one team getting calls and the other not. Just if it's a foul here when this team commits it, it's a foul here when this team commits it. And across all the games. There's too many games where it's called here in this game, not called here in this game because it's a different crew. I mean, you don't know what to expect when you're going into a game as a player or a coach. So you better hope that your offense, defense, and special teams are killing it, because that fourth unit might end up screwing you in the end. I mean, am I crazy here? I really don't think that I'm out of bounds talking about the officiating the way that I am. I think this is a very fair take. Let me know what you think below, and as always, I appreciate you guys. I'll catch you later.